Welcome back to the console room. Today we're going to be looking at Kaiju number 8, chapter 21. So, just to kind of jump in, get started with our little chapter summary. So, at the conclusion of 20, we saw Kefka was able to escape from the vice captain. And this chapter, honestly, not a hell of a lot kind of happening. Up until the midpoint, we're just kind of getting a little bit of a review of the situation from the other team members. Kefka goes back to Moriyama to check in. It's kind of interesting at first because she seems like she's a little hesitant to deal with him, but then the second he pulls up, everything changes and she's all kind of like, the blushing, have a bit of a crush. I don't know what to do.
It's like what's it called? It's Sonata type, or no, I forget what it's called, but it's like an archetype for
A character, yeah, I feel you. And then we see the vice captain kind of pissed off at himself, and what ends up being to both revealed to him and the captain slash Kefka's childhood friend is that the kaiju was originally in human form. So this has kind of opened up a whole new can of worms for the defense force and figuring out exactly what's going on. So they go to try and research the guy who supposedly was, the fungus kaiju. And then
Kaiju number 9.
Sorry?
Codename Kaiju number 9 now.
Yeah, which was interesting because I had assumed he was already one of the ones that were 7. Which, if he's 9, that just kind of opens up a whole other can of worms as well. And then we find out that somewhere outside the battle zone, that our fungus guy has decided to replace himself with another human. So I don't know if he
basically
to him, or if he infected the guy's body and turned into him.
I mean, he basically I don't know if you ever saw the movie Species. Basically took over that guy's body, man. That dude is gone, man. So
well, that was what I figured. So yeah,
he just Yoshikage Kira him. You know what I mean? Took over like
yeah. Okay, that's a good example. So yeah, I mean, honestly, as I said, not really a heck of a lot going down in this chapter. I did find it a little surprising that Moriyama was kind of like questioning Kefka, right? Like she says on page 1, is he truly someone I can trust? And I think, I would have liked to have think that after they had the initial kind of bipedal kaiju incident at the training grounds, that the trust factor would have been a little higher.
Yeah.
But again, that's just kind of clearly not the case. So it's a little the way everything is going.
I agree. This chapter is more like a progress. They found out this and that. They found out that he's a human form, so that was pretty good. And they go with the investigation. They meet with Kefka's old coworker,
the sanitation unit.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. And obviously they want to rile up society and stuff like that. Very short chapter. Not a lot of characters, not a lot of stuff going on.
So, no, it was very choppy and quick, right? I kind of liked it though, to be honest, because
it's funny you say that, but it's 19 pages.
Well, yeah, I know it just because it just jumped around so quick. It was, to be honest, I actually, from a story and a writing perspective, I actually really loved this chapter because it was 4 pages to these people, 4 pages to these people, and then 4 pages to these people. Done. And it was just very succinct because we got the whole Moriyama and interaction. Then we see the vice captain and he's in his slump. Literally sitting there pouting on the floor. It was also really cool to see the camaraderie and the relationship between the two of them, right? Because
they're both serious, so we never see them
exactly. It's also kind of interesting is ago we got last chapter we got the Dai Kaiju title thrown in, and then in this one we got a little bit more of an what
tier or mid-sized kaiju, even a humanoid maybe, right? Or kind of in that aspect. So yeah, I'm curious because we know there's kaiju, giant monster, but then there's all sizes and other how strong they are. And yeah, I'm curious. The other, I want to see more kaiju, man. I want to see more what more can come out of it. Where is this guy from, and why is he hiding amongst the people still?
Yeah, you mean number 9, for example?
Yeah, now that they named him number 9, which is kind of funny because it's only been 5 years, so how often are kaijus coming out? I know we have the big ones and stuff like that, but I guess when you identify as a number, are you a threat? You know what I mean?
It's interesting that you say that because I think the vibes that from the series as a whole so far have been a lot of I know you haven't read it, but there's been a lot of World Trigger vibes.
Mm.
So, what's kind of interesting, I guess, about World Trigger is that the neighbors, as they're called, who come into the planet Earth and stuff like that, um, them popping up is like a daily or like a weekly occurrence. But the actual, like, I guess, kind of more catastrophic events happen like years apart, kind of thing, usually. And that's very surprising, in all honesty, because you know what gets it becomes difficult to truly hone in on what is a regular attack versus a catastrophe, and I think
Mm.
that's kind of what we're getting here as well. Right? A breakout like this appears to be pretty normal, aside from Kaiju number 9 showing up, or the fungus
Well,
Kaiju.
especially they could like transform into it would take over a human
Humans,
body.
yes. Well, yeah, well, sorry, like, taking him out of the equation, it seems that an instance like this is pretty unusual for them, right? Like, they weren't exactly shocked, the recruits are coming in and getting trained on a mission like this and stuff like that. So I think from a regular perspective that this is kind of something they're used to. But I agree with what you're saying in terms of, well, if it happened like 5 years ago, what type of a picture does that paint in terms of the severity of incidents and stuff like that? So it'll be kind of interesting to see how that gets developed going forward. Um, I guess the two things that are kind of interesting for me are A, the vice captain realized that Kefka was fighting like a human rather than a kaiju. So
Mhm.
that was very interesting because that was also something that the fungus kaiju said to Kefka, where he's like, you kind of seem like more like a human, right? So it's interesting that there's this very clear vibe coming from Kefka and his fighting and stuff like that, that he's not just a strictly a regular kaiju. And then the other thing that I also found interesting was that this is also the first instance that they're finding of a kaiju transforming into a human, which means although Kefka isn't the first, from a general plot perspective, um, he's the first that they ever kind of have known about, technically speaking, if you know what I mean. Like, they don't know he's turning into a human, rather they figured out that fungus has. But it's still interesting that none of this has ever come up before. I'm surprised that, with all of the years that they've been dealing with kaiju, that's never happened. I'm truly surprised by that.
Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from. I don't know what's gonna be next. If I'm being honest, with the next few chapters of the next arc, maybe we're going to see another training thing, more kaiju. I don't know. Like, if we're going off a world trigger, what would you think next? Like, kind of like.
Interesting. I kind of like that question. That I almost don't know, because what's very, I guess, kind of interesting for the most part about the I guess the neighbor fights in World Trigger is they happen, and then and in some instances they're kind of like, the villain of the week scenarios. But then there are other ones that are bigger and kind of like plot driving, and I would think this would kind of fall into the latter. I don't think this is going to be a villain of the week thing, and I think the reason for that is he's getting aggressive. He but maybe he isn't. Sorry, because I'm rereading the last, and he's questioning, like, how should I kill Kaiju number 8? And then his response is, well, I guess I better lie low again in my new skin. So
Yeah.
I actually don't know. I'm not sure either. I think we'll probably have to go back to a semi-training arc. I think we'll see probably next chapter just a general evaluation of the squad and how
And
they
like,
did.
why would he want to kill him, right? I mean, aside from like, obviously they had a confrontation and like,
Well, that's a good question too, actually, because, like, why does that matter, right? Like, I guess,
I'm pretty sure the goal of the kaiju is like, you know, destroy all humanity and like whatever, will be number one.
but this one's got a grudge, right? So, like, why does
Yeah,
he have a
because
grudge? Like,
obviously, I mean, aside from them fighting each other, we still don't know their real goal, right? We mentioned this multiple times, so.
no. Well, the interesting thing now that I'm thinking, do we think this is another instance though of, because remember, it was a bug kaiju thing that initially, like, infested Kefka and turned him into that. Do we think maybe this could kind of be like another example, except maybe the kaiju personality took over, but there's still like semblances of a human there? Because in all other instances so far in the story, kaijus are like just like kind of mindless, destructive beings. This is like the first sentient one we get introduced to, so I'm a little conflicted about the
And
display
it's
of
kind of
like
it
a
is
human grudge.
funny. it is pretty funny as they're like pretty much the opposite. Where like I guess Kefka could turn into a kaiju, and this guy could turn into a human, or at least take over a human's body. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's they're definitely the opposite. I don't. I kind of like him. I kind of want to see more of him. So it's good to like keep a like consistent
This
villain.
guy around, yeah, agreed.
So I think that's always enjoyable when you have like a manga stories. Like, all right, like maybe we don't like this guy right now, and obviously you probably still don't. But like when you keep a villain around, like, all right, let's see what else he could bring to the table. Like, what other information he could dish out, because I'm pretty sure he knows more than us. Than he knows more obviously than us as the readers. So
For sure. And wasn't he on the phone with someone when he was in the bathroom a few chapters back?
oh yeah, when he was yeah, we do know that for sure. So clearly there, like we said before, there are other kaijus or other something, right? The syndicate, or something like that. Side note, this guy's driving a Lexus. I just realized that.
Oh yeah, there is an L very much in that
Yeah.
in that steering
Yeah.
wheel. That's kind of funny.
So
I wonder if the author drives a Lexus. That'd be kind of jokes.
yeah. Or like maybe he's like he wants to drive, or like that's just
Like
like,
he
oh, that's
he
a
hits his
fancy
dream
car.
car kind of thing.
Yeah. That's a nice car to like, or it was just kind of like L, whatever. But yeah, but I like the chapter, just moving forward and see what's to come. More mysteries, and I think that's the point, right? But I think that's all I can really talk about.
Yeah, I'd agree. Like I said, not a heck of a lot. Um, as I kind of say every week, Kaiju's been such like a pleasant surprise to come up last year. I didn't expect to like a series like this as much as I do. It's been fun. The art's fantastic. So, and I think actually when you and I were just talking, as we normally kind of shoot the shit throughout the week, that this thing has had like 40 million views. Is that what you said? Was it
Oh
that
yes.
obscene?
Oof, I should have thrown that in the beginning. My bad. That was let me look that up real quick before we hop off. Let me see. Let's see. The Kaiju number 8. Um
Because that's crazy to me, man. That's like absolutely that's like don't get me wrong, that's freaking fantastic. And that's to be honest, I couldn't be happier to see that stuff blow up. That's freaking amazing. Um, you know,
yeah, let me see. No, you can keep talking. I'm gonna try to find this information. Cause I saw it and I
no,
was like,
it's
"Whoa,
all good.
it's
Like to be honest, when you told me that, man, I was floored. And it's kind of funny because so far it seems that the most hits that we've been getting has been on the kaiju stuff. So, I mean, I'm glad to see that the hype train's there. Like I really am because again, I think for a lot of people, this series just came out of nowhere, but it's been so interesting, so well drawn, and it kind of blends that very fine line between fun,
mm,
um, and sorry, it's fun, but there's seriousness. There's good characters, but there's also the stereotypical archetypes and stuff like that. Like it's just such a good blend of kind of all the different things that you love about mangas and animes and stuff like that I feel that's just kind of why it's blown up because it can attract so many different audiences within a single story that it's hard not to love. I think everybody can find something to love.
oh, for sure. And I feel like with the popularity like that, like it's getting. And you said before, like with that one actually gets her like most views for some reason. I don't know why, but it just does.
It's
Or at
probably
least
because there's just less content out there about it.
yeah,
And I would argue we kind of jumped on it for so that would arguably part of it. Yeah, man, it's been fantastic.
yeah. I really enjoyed it. Let me see if I can spawn. Jump. Let's see. Outside you're supposed to jump. Oh my god. Damn it, I wish I could find it. But yeah, it says something where like Kaiju number 8 is a in Japan, if I remember correctly. What I said before, it's like it's part of their like online thing where
Yeah, it's Jump Plus, and it's an all digital platform. Yeah.
yeah, it's an all digital platform and apparently got like 50 million like reads, I guess. Or something
That's
like that.
crazy, dude. Good
Yeah.
for that. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to bring that up again. It's great to see this series is getting a lot of love. Next stage is an anime, and let me tell you, man, if we could get who's doing Juju? It's Mappo or Mappa
Yeah. Juju is oh, not Juju. Yeah, it's Mappa, the same people that are doing Attack on Titan
in God of
season,
High School, right? Yeah. So like,
and they're doing Chainsaw Man, which is
bro,
pretty.
so this studio is riding a high of crazy series to animate. Throw this into their wheelhouse too, because they knock it out of the frickin' park with all the stuff they've been putting out lately. So, in a couple of years when this is hitting the 100+ chapter mark, get on that. Get on that, Mappa. We
Mhm.
want to see it because, oh man, that would be freaking crazy.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised if it like kind of blows up because it's good action. It's really like if we're talking about action oriented. I don't know who the audience is. Again, we're just reading it from here and from the West, right? So I don't really know what's the audience for Kaiju, especially with the main character being an old uh, main
An
character.
older character, yeah, he's in his he's like late 20s, like early 30s.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like, is that attached to a younger audience? You know what I
Not
mean?
usually, but he has kid-like qualities to him. So I think it's easier for even younger readers to attach to that.
Mhm.
And you know what's kind of weird? This is going to sound really weird actually. Kefka in a really weird way kind of embodied 2020 as a whole and
Hmm.
kind of what happened to people during COVID, where they kind of hit this stage in their life and they're like, I need to either grind out what I'm doing or make a change. Like, how many people did you talk to in the last year that have decided to like go just do a complete, lane change on what they were doing with life? Like, my
Yeah.
personal experience has been quite a number of people. So I think, again, maybe that's why this is blown up to an extent
Well,
where
well, it's also digital, so like you don't have to go out and like
that,
get.
well, that's true too. I think, well, it was more the audience when you were asking like what's connecting the audience, and I was kind of mentioning earlier where there's something for everybody. It's really easy to connect with a character that is taking a chance on their last kind of road in life or their last opportunity to get on this road in life, which I think a lot of people were probably confronted with like COVID and the way they had to change their lives. So I think there's a
So
real connection there for characters or readers rather on a different level.
and before we sign off, yeah, this is from the Shonen Jump News unofficial, right? Twitter, where they like tweet from Japanese accounts where they translate and everything.
Mhm.
Kaiju No has officially reached 50 million views on Jump Plus.
Holy crap!
That was on
Congrats then.
December 26, 2020. So yeah. So
That's crazy, man. I got 50 million views with only
for like
20 chapters.
chapters, that's pretty good, man. And that's over there in Japan, so that's not even counting here. So I mean,
That's
I'm
not
guessing
even
you're talking.
including the West? Are you kidding me?
No. That's not including the West. That's not
Dude,
on
you
the West.
can't be serious. What the hell?
Well, it says no. It's view on the Jump Plus. We don't have Jump Plus. We just have Shonen.
Oh, I guess that's true. Okay.
Yeah. So like, and it makes sense. They have a big population over there, right?
Yeah, but I don't know
So
how big. What's the population of Japan?
I'm pretty
120
sure.
million? Holy crap, dude. So like half of Japan has read this.
I don't. Okay. Well,
From like a
nah.
strip popular, well, like if you take the numbers and you just extrapolate it, I mean, obviously
Well,
of
I don't.
Japan
Okay. I don't. Okay. I think it's more like.
there's been 50 million views. Even if it's a double view, that's still crazy. If you don't
Well,
like,
no, well, I would say I think a view is more like. Okay. I think that's a combined number since the serialization. So if we really break it down, like let's say 50 million, and I don't know how many chapters there are right now, like 20.
not even to be honest, because there's like
20.
a,
No,
actually no,
20.
there is 21. There's 21. I
Okay,
forgot
so
the 21 still count.
if we break it down, that's like maybe like what, a million? Nah, that's probably like almost 10 million. Yeah, that's understandable, and it could also just be the same readers. I don't know.
There's too
So
many questions, but it's just great to see the series love, to see the
yeah,
series get love. I'm glad it's blown up. Keep the hype train going to all the people, because we need quality series like this, and showing the love for stuff like this, and giving shout outs to the authors and the artists. That's the only way to kind of keep the industry rolling, and that's the goal. Everybody's goal at the end of the day, right? So.
for sure.
Alrighty, man. Awesome. Let's call it there with our Kaiju number 8, chapter 21 review.
Yep.